A professor from Harvard by the name of Karen L. King says that she found an ancient papyrus fragment saying that perhaps Jesus was actually married, because in this fragment he refers to someone as my wife. Now, obviously this isn't the first time that we've heard the theory that Jesus was married. There's a lot of speculation that he was married to Mary Magdalene. But this brings up a really interesting point, not just about whether or not Jesus was married, but about what that means for the Catholic Church, because obviously, and just the Christian Church in general, but obviously the Catholic Church is very much against premarital sex and sex for really any reason other than procreation.
They don't even seem to really like it that much then.
What?
They'll allow it in that case, but they don't seem to really like it that much.
It's like this weird view that because sex feels good, it's not okay in the church. And
we actually have some historical data, like going back to 200. And so the interesting part about this is that, so you're talking about, what does this mean for the church? In the end, it's probably going to mean nothing, because they're not going to change their minds, I don't think.
Yeah, so many times this happens with the Catholic Church, where like new information surfaces and they're like, that doesn't really fit with what we've been doing for a couple thousand years, so we're just going to throw that out.
Let's burn that.
Yeah.
It's little anyway. No one's gonna miss it. But we have from the year 2000, or from the year 200, actually. This is Clement, an early theologian. He says that marriage was a fornication put in place by the devil, and that people should emulate Jesus by not marrying. And so the interesting thing is that, like, we assume that, like, the Bible was written, like, I don't know, Jesus was around, he wrote the Bible or something, but like it was developed over the course of hundreds of years after he had died. There were these theological debates going on, and people were trying to decide what lessons should we take from that time. And it took hundreds of years for them to have some idea, and it's still being formulated even now. But hundreds of years after he died, Christians were still debating, like, should we get married? Not should we have sex outside of marriage? Like, no, definitely can't do that. But should we even get married?
Like even have sex at all?
At all.
And then they finally decide, like, well, yeah, because we need to keep repopulating the species, so yeah, I guess we'll have sex, I guess.
If we have to, while at the same time loving it. But yeah, it's questionable. Like, this could, if there was an actual debate on this, and look, they're saying that they think this is a genuine artifact. It's the papyrus the size of a business card.
Which is real little.
Yeah, it's pretty tiny. And it's basically just repeating some of the interesting conspiracy theories from the Da Vinci Code, which I liked the movie of, didn't like the book too much. But it's interesting. I like the idea that stuff like this could still come up and possibly impact the lives of so many people around the world. But in all likelihood, probably not going to have any effect whatsoever.
I guess so. I just think it's such an antiquated theory in the Christian religion that sex is not okay, and that God doesn't want you to have sex, and Jesus didn't have sex, so you can't have any sex. And it's just so ridiculous. Like, what do they think humans are supposed to do?
If he didn't want us to have sex, he should have had us have children through some other means.
Exactly.
Like a good hearty handshake.
But it's just like this perpetuating, like, ideology or something of the Christian religion with just guilt. Like, you should feel guilty all the time.
Yeah.
And
no matter what.
No matter what. And that's gonna, help you become a better person, as if you feel guilty. But I mean, I don't really think that that's the case of the actual, root of faith at all. I don't think you should actually feel guilty about anything. That's not the point of having a faith and trying to become a better person. It's to make yourself happy. And yet all these religions rely on, oh, you should just feel guilty and repressed and, fast and don't have sex and don't consume alcohol and just take all these pleasurable things away from yourself. And I do like stories like this, because I hope that they can someday kind of disprove that myth and make it more okay for people to have faith and be religious, but still live happy lives and not be guilty all the time.
Yeah.